If you're going to go into an audition thinking like all the reasons why you're not right for the part, or that the casting director made a mistake somehow in bringing you in, which is like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for not getting a call back.
Yes.
Not getting brought back in the room ever, or having at the very least, having a negative experience with the work that you are choosing to do, the thing that you love to do. You're already setting it up to be a negative experience for yourself. Whereas if you come at it from the place of, I am unique, I was brought in for a reason, let's share my unique perspective on this character, you're gonna have so much more fun. You're not gonna be doing 35 takes and scrutinizing over, you blinked here, you looked left here, you fumbled this little. You're gonna allow more space in your work to play, to be free, and that is what is compelling to watch.
Hey there, welcome back to the DNA podcast, where we learn what artists are made of. And today's artist is a lovely human being by the name of Sara Garcia. Sara is one of the leads on the hit series, The Hunting Party. And I actually forgot about this, but I worked with Sara like a blajillion years ago. I did like A coaching with her when she was in her process for the very beginning like search she did for an agent early on. And since then, she's gone on to do just incredible things. She's a profoundly accomplished actor, having worked on like dozens of series and features, and now she's a series reg on this huge show. And she was kind enough to come in and do our podcast. And Sara is this immensely poised, powerful, intelligent human being with this like deeply interesting and reactive emotional reservoir that's always available, and part of how she eloquates so beautifully about everything that she thinks about. She's a deep thinking and deep feeling actor whom is full of wisdom and incredible career advice, as she talks about in this podcast her journey through her career up into the point of the success that she's experiencing now, and what is creatively lighting her up now, where she wants to go next. It's just really, really exciting stuff. I found this one to be like very educational. I learned a lot from Sara in this conversation, and this conversation is one of those ones where the more she spoke, the more I felt like I needed to think really deeply about things that I feel and believe in order to really match her where she was, and what a heckin' delight. So you'll also notice that it's not Christmas and there's Christmas stuff in the background of this video, and that's because we filmed it during the sort of Christmas season. So a little extra Christmas for you here when this episode should be probably airing in January. You know, whatever. Christmas was nice. Do you remember Christmas? It was great. So Sara, thank you so much for taking the time out of your insane schedule to come and chat with us. And thank you to all of you for being here. If you haven't and you're here, please click like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please click subscribe. Give us a little 5-star rating. I know it takes a hot sec. Click the little 3 buttons and go into the 5-star rating. That really does teach the algorithm gods that we have value, and we should be pumped out to actors across the world, that we may be a lighthouse for them to help them grow and point their ships at. I so appreciate you being here, and let's dive into Yonder Podcast. Sara Garcia, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is my first podcast. I'm so excited.
This is very cool. It's kind of crazy to me that you haven't been doing podcasts, because you've had such a, like, in doing research about you, like I've known you kind of tangentially for a little bit. You just reminded me that I coached you 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
And so, but like you've had quite the career. Like obviously right now you've got the success of The Hunting Party, which is super exciting. But like you've been like really steadily building for a long time. Which is like, I feel like it's every person who feels like an overnight success, like that's what's actually true.
Yeah.
But like, if you're cool with kind of diving in, talk to me about like, one, the journey, like how you started out in this whole shebang, if you're cool with talking about that. And then I'd love to talk about like the grind unto this success that you're experiencing.
Oh, well, thank you. As seeing you talk, I'm just seeing you light up. It's nice.
Yeah.
So thank you. Well, I was born in a small town. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go back that far.
You can if you want to.
But it does go back kind of far because I think probably as most performers, we all showed some twinkle of this early on in development and maybe had, hopefully, a parental figure or an adult figure nurture that and allow us access to that. I know that's not always the case, but for me that was. And it led me to go to a high school, an arts high school here in Toronto called the Etobicoke School of the Arts.
Oh, nice, great.
I fumbled through the name, Etobicoke School of the Arts, which was very profound for me. It had a deep, deep, deep impact on me. I look back at those times with fondness and also there were some challenging moments there. But I think that adversity makes you a stronger artist. It builds resilience.
Sure.
And I think that that's, at the time when I was there, that was sort of the core of what was being taught by some of the teachers who reigned supreme there. Is you have to build resilience if you want to build success in this industry. And so I learned that. And I also learned that maybe I didn't want to be an actor. Maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I wanted to do something else. And I wanted a more traditional education experience. I went to Queen's University. I still loved acting. And I did my Bachelor of Arts in Science, I guess, with drama and global development, with my focus being on the global development side, and the drama was just for fun, to just keep up my artistic sentiments, I guess. And through my global development degree, I wanted to get into the Foreign Service. That was the plan. I was like, I'm not an actor, I'm gonna get into the Foreign Service. And I did an exchange program in Shanghai. Loved it.
The Foreign Service being?
Canadian diplomatic relations, yeah.
Okay.
I did an exchange program through Queen's in Shanghai where I worked for an NGO called Roots and Shoots, teaching health and hygiene in the migrant school sector of China. And that just gave me a new sense of purpose. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated school, really. And so I just went back to China. And I spent about 3 years total on and off in Shanghai. And it was there that I got bit with the acting bug again.
As most actors do.
Right. Go halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And it
Who
finds
among us
you.
hasn't gone to China to rekindle our love affair with traditional Western film and television performance?
Exactly. So I ended up meeting a woman who had created this expat theater scene in Shanghai. At the time, Shanghai was very booming. There were lots of expats from all over the world. And she was like, there's theater here. You would be perfect. Let me introduce you to people. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I really don't want to be an actor, but like, I miss it. So yeah, maybe like some community theater would be fine.
Yeah.
Well, turns out I loved it and got cast in everything because there was only so many of us. And we did this sort of guerrilla type theater that was in bars and in abandoned warehouses and in people's living rooms. And the community loved it and craved it. And there was money to be made. And it slowly just sort of sucked me back in completely until that was the only job that I was doing there. And a director of mine for a company pulled me aside one day and said, you need to go back home. I'm not casting you in any more plays. You need to go back home and you need to do this for real. And I was like, what do you mean? This is for real. And she was like, no, go home. If I don't see you on a show in the next like year and a half, I don't know what you're doing with your life. And so I took that to heart and I came back here and I started my journey and learned on-camera techniques, did a coaching with you.
Right, yes.
And that sort of like kicked it off.
Yeah.
But it really instilled in me this, I think, a validation that I was searching for, that I didn't know that I was searching for, from a mentor type figure that was just, you have a talent, don't waste it. Do the thing you were put here to do. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I just really needed to hear that in order to give myself permission to actually follow my dream. And recently on this trip, I was sifting through some old treasure boxes or whatever, and I found a letter that I had wrote to myself, I think when I was like 8. And it basically said, I'm going to be an actor and a singer, and I'm going to work really hard to get there, and I'm going to be the best. That's what it said. I think it said, I had this dream since I was 7 years old or something like this, since I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I recently read that and I was like, wow, yeah, I'm doing it. Like I'm doing the thing that I said I was going to do when I was a kid. And I don't know, at some point I just lost sight of what that dream was and why I wanted to do it. And it took somebody else to remind me to keep going. Yeah.
I think about talent a lot. Like I think for people who are talented, we tend to be surrounded by people who are talented. Mm-hmm. And listen, like talent in and of itself is like a niche resource, right? Mm-hmm. Like oil and gas is super great until you need like Freon to power a refrigerator, right? Yeah. And then it's just like stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but that idea of you possess this, you have this thing that's a rare resource that, like, in fact, most people don't have, and being able to being able to recognize, hey, I should go and really like use this resource and see where it can take me. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that I think actors maybe don't give themselves enough credit for the actual value of a talent. Mm. Like that is such a rare resource on this planet.
Yeah.
And same goes, I would assume, for all sorts of other professions. For sure. Folks who have talents in specific things. It's like, it's so easy to dismiss that as opposed to like honor it and be like, this is the worm that I have. I'm going to start casting lines.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is such a rare thing.
Sure.
And it's so cool that you had somebody who was like, hey, maybe go do the talent thing.
Yeah. I think too, something you said just sparked something, is that we don't, I don't know, maybe it's a Canadian thing, or I'm not sure, but this idea that we're somehow, if we nurture a talent, or if we say we're talented, or we own a talent of ours, mm-hmm. we're somehow being cocky, or that it's like not a humbling feature, and that's undesirable. Yeah. And so we just sort of push it away, and we dim our own lights. And I'm in an era of challenging that at the moment, because I think that when people are given a gift, it's important that they honor and respect that gift that they've been given, mm-hmm. in whatever shape or form that it looks like for the individual. Mm-hmm. But it's meant to be here for a reason, and it's purposeful for a reason. Maybe you don't know what that reason is yet. Maybe it's just to touch one person. Maybe it's to touch thousands of people. But you should definitely see where it goes. You should at least try.
It's interesting to me, you using those words, I'm in an era of challenging those beliefs. I'm paraphrasing you, but yeah. Because the tall poppy syndrome is real. Like I
was just talking to somebody about tall poppy syndrome. Yeah,
I've been working with some actors in in Australia, and they're like, the idea of standing out is like societally punished.
Yeah.
And Canada has that, maybe to a lesser degree than some places, but Canada does tend to I think of Canada as like a mother or father archetype that's like, I want the best for you. Go and accomplish your dreams. Come home.
Yeah.
Go, be perfect. Never leave.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, pick a lane, Canada.
Right.
Like, I don't understand. Do you want exceptionalism?
Yes.
Or do you not? Because we all just, for the most part, have to fucking leave.
Yeah.
to like really dive into exceptionalism.
Right.
Which is like, unless you're Paul Gross. Like,
Right.
that's the only one.
Yeah, we don't really have a star system here. Or
No.
We do, but only once they've left, and then we claim them as our own again.
And it's wild because like I know for a fact, like, there are Canadian networks that like literally they will be like, oh yeah, well, this actor has been on everything, so we're not going to cast them on this. And it's just like, I'm sorry. Are you saying that the audience enjoys this person? And you think that's a bad thing?
Yeah.
It's like going to a hockey game and being like, wow, Wayne Gretzky's like really good at this. We should make sure he plays less.
Yeah.
What a dumb way to think about stuff.
No, I know. And I think it ultimately harms our own industry.
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does. And it's because segueing now, because you're filming in the States, right? You've been like, I've been really lucky the bulk of my career. Perhaps in some situations I've worked less, but I've worked almost exclusively on American projects, and I went to school in the States. So like I skipped the tall poppy thing.
Yeah.
I still have like cringe when you were talking about like it being like a belief system that you're challenging. I'm like, some Canadian part of me is like, oh yeah, no, don't do that, eh?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's my overriding belief system. I think in general I believe in exceptionalism and the pursuit of it. But I think that a part of that is that the bulk of the influences that I've had in this industry have been American, and like, bless their cotton socks. Like belief that you are good, honestly, I think is an equally valuable currency to actually being good.
I agree.
It's wild how much of this becomes a confidence game.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like, it lights me up to think like that's something that I've learned as a coach. Is it's just like, once you're able to, it's not can you or can't you? It's why or why aren't you?
Yes.
Like, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You create your own reality to an extent, but yes, you do. If you're going to go into an audition thinking like all the reasons why you're not right for the part, or that the casting director made a mistake somehow in bringing you in, which is like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for not getting a callback.
Yes.
Not getting brought back in the room ever, or having at the very least, having a negative experience with the work that you are choosing to do, the thing that you love to do. You're already setting it up to be a negative experience for yourself. Whereas if you come at it from the place of, I am unique, I was brought in for a reason, let's share my unique perspective on this character, you're going to have so much more fun. You're not going to be doing 35 takes and scrutinizing over, you blinked here, you looked left here, you fumbled this little. You're going to allow more space in your work to play, to be free, and that is what is compelling to watch.
This is something that I've noticed in your work. It's funny because like structurally with somebody that I don't know well, I'm like, oh man, because I usually open the podcast with like a compliment about the person's acting, because it just is a great way to break the ice. I know I'm telling the audience my secrets. But it's something that I have noticed in your work is, especially like working within, because I'm on a network show right now too, and there's a real structure. Like a real structure to network.
Oh yes.
It's like in the way that you can like press play on every Nickelback song ever written, and it plays out the exact same way. Like, but something that I have found that's really interesting about you is that like there always feels like this sense of unpredictability, and like and like I'm aware that there is this structure that you have to work with, and you're so aware of it, but also there's this sense of you just being like, always open to something happening differently.
Yeah, thanks.
Which allows for, even if things don't happen differently, a sense of like je ne sais quoi in there where you're just like, ooh, where is this going to go? Which I think is pretty electric. I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you. Wow.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Good job at that acting,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
yeah, it's really cool. And have you found like, and this is maybe a good way to talk about like the growth and the grind.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you're at a growth edge right now where you're leaning much more into like the intangibles of yourself and the value of that. Has that been like something that you have struggled with, or and that's not a leading question. Like you're perfectly allowed to be like, nah, I've always been good. But I'm curious, like how has that been fostered, or has that been like a challenge as you've come up?
Yeah, I think I've definitely struggled with self-confidence throughout this process. To speak to the grind of it, that perseverance. There's always this saying like, oh, you want to build momentum, and I'm like, for most of my career, I've been like, what is this momentum that everyone keeps talking about? I have no idea what that means, and I don't know how to achieve it, because there was a lot of, it felt like and that came with some difficult emotional barriers in terms of, am I good enough? All the standard questions: am I good enough? Am I right for this? Do I have what it takes? I think for me, it was, all those questions came up. They continue to come up. Imposter syndrome is alive and well with me, constantly. But there's also this part of me that is steadfast and basically sits there kind of stoic and is like, you chose this. This is your path. Just be you. And in fact, a major shift for me happened when I stopped trying to put myself in a box or what I thought people wanted me to be like. You know, you get the breakdown of the audition and it says certain characteristics and you think that has to be the thing that I do exactly. I have to be perfect in what they're searching for. When I started to let go of that and started to come at characters with my own unique perspective of my life and my well of experience, and also with curiosity of like maybe what I don't know, and stop trying to fit myself into this box that I thought they wanted, I started booking more. That's just it. Like I started being more me and being like, I don't know what the rules are anymore. I can swear, but like the rules.
You can swear, yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm having fun doing it. And that's when I started booking these like more substantial characters. And I take that with me in my work, even on the hunting party. You're right, the procedurals have a formula. So I'm playing the classic like tech girl, but how do I make tech girl Sara? How do I make her me? How do I breathe life into this part? And for me specifically with my acting methods is that, and this is different for everyone, so, you know, take everything with a grain of salt. What works for me isn't necessarily gonna work for you. But I've done a lot of parts work therapy in my life, which is just the notion that you have these different parts that make up your personality. Some are manager parts, some are firefighter parts, some are child parts. And they all developed so that they could keep you safe.
Yes.
And then, of course, at the core of that is your highest self. I approach my acting work like I approach my healing work. And I sort of see what part wants to show up on the day. What part is going to be triggered by this scenario in this situation? When I'm playing Jennifer Morales, I'm like, what part does Jennifer align most with? Is she my teenage self? Is she my child self? Is she a mixture of both? And then that way it grounds the character in something real that I know without having to be totally method, but makes it feel realistic to me. And I guess maybe what you're picking up on is this like a slight deviation from the formula. I can say all the lines exactly as they're written, but maybe she pauses, maybe she hesitates, maybe she stumbles, and that's okay because the imperfection is what makes it interesting. Even if it's slightly interesting, it's still interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. Like, oh man, the word interesting. I'm just like it, but it is objectively. Like I find one of the most fun parts of film and television performance is that it is so structured. Like to the degree that I think this is something that Sarah Pauly said. The audience has almost all, like any adult audience member has put in their 10,000 hours on cinematic structure. They just don't know that they have.
Right.
But like the average human being prior to like the TikTok revolution, watched 20 hours of television a week. That's a part-time job for like their entire life. So they understand these things. Like there's a beautiful unspoken language between audience and like the production. Like we know certain sound cues mean now we're in a dream sequence. We know we know these things in our bones. And I feel as though like structure is so useful because then we get to bounce around within it and know that, hey, we're totally safe here, just like guardrails on a road.
Yes.
Like I'm going to stay on the road. I understand it, right? And if I careen off of it, it's very easy to get back on because I know where it is. And to me, that's like, I've been thinking more and more about the concept of, I think actors often struggle to believe that they're good enough. They struggle to believe that they can do this, or that they're, that casting made the right choice, et cetera, et cetera. And I think like the more that I think about it, the more the word belief feels like it's something that consistently and always needs to be proven, as opposed to acceptance.
Like I just am.
Yes. And you had talked about acceptance a little bit earlier, and I was like, I've got to flag that. Because it just is, the story is, and I am. And so for you, the acceptance of I contain these pieces, and they'll show up to the things as are required. But if you're trying to believe a reality and you're trying to believe that you are worthy of it, then it's like, oh, that's too many things to like, and you just don't like, you don't set up a world where these parts of yourself can go in because they're trying to convince themselves that they exist. It's too much.
Yeah, you're still in striving mode.
Yeah.
Instead of just being the thing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that coaching has taught me is like, there's so much universality that almost every actor goes through, like variations of the same thing from like starting out to the highest levels. It's like so universal. Just like when in my experience in finding myself in therapy, it's like one of the biggest boons that I got from it was that like I felt I was so alone in my experience, and like a lot of therapy is my therapist being like, Doug, everybody feels that. And I'm like, oh, what?
I'm not alone?
Yeah. And I think that for actors, like actually having a place where they can go to hear actors talk about process and journey and challenge and success and failure, it's like, I'm in some variation of that right now. And it ebbs and flows. When you were talking about my career has been very like, like forward, back, and that concept of momentum. Man, I was like, lady, me too. Like, holy shit. Because I've had a lot of success, and yet I've also created this like very subconscious thing where it's like anytime anything good happens to me, I'm like waiting for the fucking axe. Because it's like I've had work where I'm like, I'm so proud of this character, and they get killed off. Or this show is so great, it's been canceled. Like, and it's just like so many things. And it's like this beautiful job and life of like tremendous growth and output. And then like every show closes.
Yes. I think in university, I studied religion. I was very, very drawn to Buddhism.
Yeah.
In acting, we're taught one of the most important, I mean, I don't know if everyone's taught this, but like I was taught this, one of the most important things is to be present in the present moment, the here and now. The entire career cycle of being an actor is a lesson in being present and a lesson in the impermanence of everything. And yet we get sometimes just lost a little bit in the like glitz and the glam and oh, this show's on HBO and we're going to this premiere and that means that we've made it or when have we made it? But the reality is it's a lifelong endeavor. Everything ends. Every movie wraps. Every television show wraps. And you're on to the next gig. And it's a whole new ecosystem when you get to that gig. The one project that you do that was incredible and you made all your best friends on that show, the next project you do might be a complete utter show and put you in therapy for 10 years. And you don't know what you're getting into with each and every new project. So I think for me, I'm just sort of at this place where I'm like, oh, everything will end. Okay, I'm going to have acceptance for that, which also means that there will always be a new beginning. And I don't know when that's going to take place. How long am I going to have to audition to get that new beginning? But it's going to happen. It happened before. It'll happen again.
And I think that, like, the fact that you're speaking to that from a place of acceptance of a reality as opposed to like trying to convince yourself that it's going to happen again, I think that's the switch. I've been feeling that a lot with coaching over the past, like basically the past year, like, because, and I know this is kind of a part of your journey as well, because correct me if I'm wrong, but Hunting Party happened right after the strikes.
Yes.
Which was like, so like Brie and I, we were both like, do we have to move back to Calgary? Like, should I become like, should I go to school to become a therapist?
Right.
Like, because it was just like, I can't not work for like 8 months again. And that was right after COVID, like shut down the industry for a huge swath of time too. And it was, but then I booked an on-set coaching gig on one of the few shows that was still filming up in Canada. And that brought some stability, which I then was like, okay, I'm making my life about creating some element of stability for the next couple of years, which is what started all of this, like creating the YouTube channel, creating the podcast.
Yeah, look at that, where that took you. There's no such thing as failure or rejection, only redirection.
Yeah,
vibes.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely. And I've just started to trust that, because one of the main things that's happened is like this has brought a lot more clientele my way. Like it's all growing and we're getting more and more eyeballs on it, but that's very much still in the growth phase. But from a coaching standpoint, I'm like about as busy as I can be.
Yeah.
And I'm like starting to be like, maybe this isn't all going to go away. And that process of acceptance is like shocking how much emotional bandwidth that's freeing up. Because I'm not like gripping.
Well, and this is a great example of like building something for yourself instead of giving your power away to the industry that is like run by capitalism and will exploit you no matter which way that you look at it.
And we are working to exploit as well. Like that's a thing too. Like
Right. So when you build something for yourself, whether that's writing your own movie or play or building a group of actors that you can work with every single week to do something, or doing YouTube shorts or whatever, podcasting, a coaching business, then you are investing in yourself, and now that's something that you have control over. And then you feel more empowered when like something that you don't have any control over, like an audition from another production comes in, you're like, whatever. That's fine.
Harrison Ford talked about this because he was a carpenter, and he was like, and early in his interviews when he like started to get really famous, he was like, there's a real power in just like not needing it.
Yes.
Like just being like fine.
There's something really. Have you heard the concept of a third thing?
No.
It's usually in connection with couples, that it's important for couples to have a third thing. And usually that takes the form of a child, but it could be anything. It could be like an art project or something outside of their relationship that they can focus their energy and attention on instead of just being in their relationship. But a third thing in acting or in artistic lifestyle is just something that is for you, that brings you joy, that you can pour your energy into, that you deeply care about. And it makes all the other stuff so much easier to just let go of those ties and those cords that bring us into the mindset of like, I need this. If you can let go of those cords and you can focus on your third thing, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be in the arts. It could be a side business or a sport or whatever. I think it frees up your creative energy and gives you a greater sense of play or I mean, carelessness. Not carelessness in the negative sense of the word, but in the sense of like, if I don't put so much importance on this one thing, and you can lessen the grip of it and allow more freedom there, it's just always going to be a more enjoyable experience for you, for who's ever watching, and may lead to more fruitful things too.
Yeah, and I think usually does. Like there's a reason. It's funny, ironically, it's one of the reasons why I started this podcast was because I'd seen so many actor podcasts where like they're interviewing famous people and the famous people are like, the moment I stopped caring was the moment everything happened for me. And I'm just like, okay. And there is an element, and to me it's like, I think that's true. Because I think that's like a releasing of outcome.
Yeah.
Right? But to me, what I think is probably more useful is like the conversation about how you got to that moment.
Right.
And in this instance, talking about that, like the removing identity from success in a thing, whether it be like it makes sense that this is something, because like codependency is like a huge, like it's a thing that I have struggled with. It's a thing that a lot of people have struggled with in relationships. So that makes sense. Like as an immediate solve to that, like putting effort elsewhere. But as an actor, the number of actors that I have come in and they're like, this is my first audition in 6 months, and they're just like treating it like if they don't crush it, it's like this precious thing. Yeah. And
I'm going through that right now.
Really?
Well, because
you've been on a show.
Because I've been on a show. I think what people don't realize is when you have the champagne problem of being on a show, you're optioned and you can't really do anything else.
Right.
So you lose the muscle memory or the if you're not constantly practicing auditioning is its own thing. Yeah. So if you're not constantly practicing it, you get rusty. And then you get self-conscious because you're rusty. And I just got a new audition for something, and yesterday, I had a little freak out and was like, oh no, like I need to do a good job, and I have these new agents and I need to impress them and I need to do this, And then I was like, whoa. I don't need to do anything. This is an opportunity I've been craving for a little while. I wanted to audition for months now. I've been missing that practice of it. Let's just have a good time. Let's just create a safe environment where I can mess up however many times I need to mess up and have a good time doing it. And then just put out a product that I'm proud of.
Right.
And that's the only goal. It's like, was I happy and having fun doing it? Great. Let's send that take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very advanced internal space to be operating from, which is super, super helpful.
But I think that when people were at different stages, even in my career, I thought, when I get to this level, I'm going to be XYZ thing. I'm going to think XYZ thing. Yeah. And the reality is that just doesn't happen. It doesn't matter. When you book a lead on a show, you still have all the same feelings that you had before. They don't go away just because you booked a lead on a show. In fact, there's a lot of other things that happen that now are, like more money, more problems, or like more responsibility, more problems.
Yes.
Like a set of circumstances that a set of challenges that you didn't even know existed start popping up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, nobody told me this. Nobody told me that this is what it was going to be like when I got up to the peak of the mountain. It's cold up here. Whew.
Yeah.
There's things that, you learn on the fly, and sometimes you can be lucky enough to be surrounded by other mentors who've been doing it a long time, who can help guide you through that. And sometimes you got to learn on your own, the hard way.
Yeah.
Which I have done many times.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if you know who Mark Manson is. He wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And
I literally am listening to that right now.
It's one of my favorite audiobooks.
Yeah.
But he talks a lot about like, and it's like a derivative of like, you had brought up Stoic philosophy like early in this podcast, but it's a derivative of Stoic philosophy, which is like basically the whole purpose of life is to trade your current problems for better problems.
Right.
But like the belief that there is ever a period of time where there are no problems is like, that's folly.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like, well, I know that next month it's probably going to be fine because I've created an element of stability, and I have a lot more things that I'm responsible for now, which is like things in people,
right?
Which is a different thing,
Yes.
and I would much rather have that problem than am I going to fucking die?
Yes.
Like it's a better problem. I'm super curious. So you're so like seemingly in command of yourself, and yet you're also such a creative like spirit, and I'm really curious about like what creatively in the acting space right now is like lighting you up the most, whether it's on the show that you're currently on, or whether it's like, oh, this is like you mentioned you were excited getting back into auditioning again. Like, is there something that you're just like, this is the type of thing that I would like to sink my teeth into?
I thought for the longest time during my career that I was only going to be an actor. I was going to just dive fully into the art of acting. I was going to be hyper-focused on that. I wasn't going to branch out. Well, joke's on me, because now I'm writing 2 shows and pitching one of them, and one of them is in the animation space and one of them is in the comedy on-camera space. And I'm fully charged up by these experiences. I'm working with 2 separate creative partners for them. And I'm just living, breathing, eating those projects up right now. And the hunting party has been such a gift to allow me the space and time and monetary safety net to be able to even be creatively charged in another area. I'm so grateful for this job because it feels like a training ground for me for my next venture. And I don't know, hopefully, knock on wood, Hunting Party goes 6 seasons or whatever.
6 seasons in a movie, baby.
Maybe, yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
And so having these other things, these other irons in the fire where I'm learning and stretching and growing has been really special. And not only that, because it's roles that I'm not familiar with, and I don't know the rules of this world, like, I don't have to play by them. Right. Which, to me, gives me a lot of freedom and flexibility, because nobody has been telling me, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, you shouldn't do it this way. You got to do it only this way. This is the format for this. I don't know any of that. Right. And I'm willing to fail up and fail in and surround myself with people who do know more than me so that I can learn from them and also rely on them and give them the space to be creative and empowered to feel ownership over the project as well. And that's been really cool. It's been really, really cool to bring an idea that came from me, share it with somebody else, and watch them take it on for themselves and be so in alignment with a creative working partner. It took me a long time to realize this about myself, but I thought I had to do everything by myself. And even my acting practice was like very solitary.
Right.
And now I'm realizing you're never doing it by yourself. When you're on a show, it's a huge team of people who are working together in tandem to do the best possible job and put out the best possible product. And that's the writers and the producers and the crew and the other actors who come in, and the editor, everybody is a part of this ecosystem. You're just a small piece of it.
Yeah.
I know sometimes actors think like they are the whole piece of it, but it's really you're this tiny little speck in this, or what I've been using is a little screw as the wheel of the machine is turning, and you're a little piece of it that's holding it all together.
Yeah.
But the thing is moving because everybody else is also involved. And I've taken that lesson and applied it to these new projects that I'm developing. And I'm getting so much fulfillment out of working in a team setting, in a team environment, instead of solitarily toiling away in the dark on my own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find creative collaboration has become one of my most favorite things. Like from a writing standpoint, from an acting standpoint, like the like beautiful impermanence that exists between two people in a moment.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of our only job. And that is something where it's like you got to need each other. Like that's it. And that experience I have become like really uniquely addicted to. And it's funny because like I used to be addicted to drinking and no longer. And it's funny because it's like that is something that I became much more hyper aware of.
Yeah.
Once I was like not seeking it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
isn't it interesting when you sort of take that out of your life, how vibrant the world becomes?
Yes, it certainly did. It certainly did for me. Yeah, I know, I've talked to a bunch of folks on the pod who have dealt with different addiction issues, and it's always interesting. Like, you almost always trade that in for like an addiction to something else. And most actors and artists that I've talked to, it's like an addiction to immediacy, an addiction to like life, which I think is a way better way to live. I mean, bourbon's great, but but this idea of like you creatively collaborating, and also like, did you find it was easy? You mentioned like somebody else taking something and running with it. Did you find you were able to like let go and allow somebody else's voice in relatively easily, or was that something that you like had to teach yourself to do?
I was worried about it at first.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. I am an Aries, and I was told recently that I'm a type A, which I always thought I was type B, but so that was a whole mind thing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I get type B from vibes from you.
I think I want to be a type B, but really I'm type A.
Sure.
And so I have control issues. And I was really worried that they were going to show up because I had never worked with anyone before. And I felt really protective over these ideas because they're very meaningful to me. They're an extension of my experience and who I am. And so I was worried, but these people are pros and they are so respectful, and they liked the idea. And I think when you're working with people who understand what you're doing and understand the story that you're trying to tell and are respectful of that, everything that they offer is in service of that story, is in service of like getting that message out there to the world. It's not in service of themselves. And so I think maybe I was careful in choosing the type of working partners. And also that they're just so talented, and every idea that they have is just 10 times better than mine. So I'm like, I respect them a lot as artists. And I think that also played a role because I can be critical of not only myself, but maybe also other people in the field.
Yeah,
I'm working on that.
Yeah, it's funny that like I feel like actors are often like punished for having big opinions, but also like our currency is big opinions, and so like I see a lot of actors, myself included, who get really caught up in this like oh, I should not be judgmental of others or judgmental of things. And then like, but our job is actually to be like extremely present and like have big opinions about everything at all times.
Yeah.
I find that push-pull, like, because the efficacy of that in life does reach a point of diminishing returns. Like, you know, if everything is wonderful or terrible, like, it's just like that can't be true of everything.
No.
You know, some stuff is just fine. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just like that concept of you having, you know, like having a hard time with like accepting other people. And
Yeah,
like
I think because it's just a projection of like me having a hard time accepting my own stuff. Like I have perfectionism tendencies, and if I don't have those in check, then I'm going to project that outwards to other people. So you know, therapy is good.
Yes.
This is just my ad for therapy.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like half of the time I talk on this podcast, I'm just like, and also therapy is great. So that's really cool. Voiceover work, which you've done a lot of.
Tons.
Yeah, you've done boatloads of it. Was that something that you fell into, or was that something that you actively pursued?
I actively pursued it. My whole strategy when I first came back here to do this job was to diversify as much as possible as a performer.
Okay.
One, I just wanted to do all of those things, but as time went on, I realized economically that was the safest bet for me in this very risky industry, if there's any safe bets in this industry.
Sure. There are safer bets for sure.
There are safer bets, and the diversification of my talents was one of them. And so right away, I came from a theater background, trained in on camera, but simultaneously was training voice. I also sang, so that was a natural sort of through line for me. And then my mom's neighbor, because I moved back in with my mom when I first came back here. My mom's neighbor was big in the voiceover world.
Oh, cool.
And he took me under his wing and sort of mentored me for like a summer. And I kind of went from there, and it took a long time though. It took a really long time to get into animation. I started in commercials, and that was pretty lucrative and successful for me. And from there, jumped into video game land, and then went into animation. But it took years.
Right.
Years to crack the animation stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that something that you're continuing to do and audition for while you're like on, well, I mean, again, there's like a limit to what you can audition for, but is that something you're still actively pursuing?
Definitely. At the moment, I'm at this crux in my career where I've moved to the States, and I'm now getting new representation in the States. So it feels almost like I'm starting fresh, which is another weird feeling, because I'm like, at a certain point, my young self is like, you made it, you did it. But then there are other parts, manager parts, that are like, you only made it to a peak, girl. You got to keep going. Yeah, there's a whole other side of the mountain you didn't know even existed.
Yeah.
And it feels like I'm starting from scratch, and that's a humbling feeling. And so I am in the process of trying to acquire some voiceover representation in the States, and starting that journey over there, which I think will be easier than actually starting from scratch, because I have this, I have work to draw from and experience to draw from, but it does sometimes feel like starting over.
Yeah. That concept of starting again, or like reaching a, the more that I exist within this industry, the more I'm like aware that it's just like you get to, like I do a lot of backcountry hiking, and it's like you get to the peak of a mountain, and you're just like, oh, there's just more mountains.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Because all it is, and what's so interesting is that like in order to get to the next one, you have to get off of the one you're on.
Yeah.
Like there is a down climb.
Yeah.
Which like in life we view as a negative. But I have increasingly become like a little bit obsessed with the concept of like, you were talking about individual self-work. What was the actual like the therapy?
Parts work. Yeah.
Which I've never heard of.
It's actually called internal family systems.
Internal family systems, cool. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that I didn't learn that in musical theater school. So, but I've become quite obsessed with the concept of deaths of old selves, like, and not in like a negative sense, in like like understanding the usefulness of something has moved past its point of usefulness, and letting it like go to rest, laying it down to rest and moving on to the next thing. And so it's so interesting, like our careers do allow for that like, oh, the version of me that was pursuing this peak, that person is now that this has been achieved, that person needs to down climb and somebody new needs to go after the next one. Like that, I think is, I don't know that happens to like real estate agents. Like that's so unique to the artistic pursuit because like I think like a lot of other careers are just like, yeah, you just keep selling houses and be rich. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds like there is something really like lovely about that idea that I just, we don't have. Like even like I would imagine freaking Meryl Streep is worried that it's all going to dry up.
Sure.
And but at the same time, every production wraps and it's like back into auditioning and what's the next climb.
Yeah.
And that is such an interesting, there's like, I got to learn new shit, I got to train, I got to buy new gear, and I got to learn some about myself on the way up. Like, that's so cool.
I love that.
But it's scary as shit.
It's so scary.
Too. Yeah.
And my husband's a lawyer, and he is constantly telling me that I am a very risky person, even though I don't believe that I'm risky. Sure. But he looks at my career and the career of artists and is like, that's a risky career. And he's right. We are brave people who choose to do this. I think that's something that like maybe people starting out in the industry, if there's like one thing that you can take away from this podcast.
I think there's lots of stuff that folks will take away from this podcast.
It's that you chose to do a very risky thing, which is to be an artist and to connect through narrative or through, visual arts to people's souls, which is dangerous. And you're putting yourself on the line every time you do it. Yeah. And that is really brave. Yeah. And you should just be proud that you wake up in the morning and you choose to do that.
Yeah. You choose courage. Like courage is a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is like very uncynically so true.
Yeah.
And it's, this is why I get, because there's a lot of actors that start out and they're like, I'm going to give myself a few years, and then if it doesn't happen by then. And it's like, I just turned 40 this year. And I think like the most useful thing that I have learned is that like through the course of this time, like I grew up in a world where nobody had cell phones. Yeah. There was no internet. And I've lived through like 2 economic crashes, like major terrorist attacks, like wars, pandemics, all sorts of So now when people are like, well, you're in a really risky industry, and I'm like, have you fucking been alive?
Everything is risky.
Like, yeah, like people that I know and love have like lived and died and been hit by cars and committed and all, like it is, the whole goddamn thing is a risk. The sun could burp and we're like, what? There's always 1 in a billion chance that that's just going to happen on a Tuesday.
Definitely.
It's wild.
You might as well be here doing the thing you love to do.
It's like the idea of like living a life to mitigate risk is fallacy because it's all just out there throwing knives. Yeah. And so that to me also like just like puts me in a state of like de-escalation of nervous system around the risk of the industry. Right. Because it's like, well, you can fail at anything.
And that just sparks this debate that I think has been going on, and everybody's talking about the industry, the state of the industry, it's in disarray. And I'm like, wasn't it kind of always though, a little bit? Like it's so precarious as is. Yeah. And we as artists are the most capable to adapt to change because we do it on a daily basis. I'm not worried. We're gonna find a way to keep telling stories. At the end of the day, that's what we do, right? So like, whether or not we make a shift to more in-person live events and there's a resurgence of theater or, it all shifts to verticals. I don't know. But like, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be talking. Maybe it looks more like we're doing theater in our living rooms for each other. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just like, we've got this. Like, it's gonna be okay.
The very nature of creation, like ours is the creative industry. We zero in on the film and television industry because that has been like the most lucrative for the past 100 years, right? And the biggest economy has been built around that. But it's at its core the creative industries, and there is nothing stable about the creative industries. Like 100 years ago, there were a bunch of like silent film actors who were movie stars, and then like they put mics on them and they all talk like that. And there's like, and all of them just fucking died, right? Like their careers ended because they sounded funny, right? And then gradually it became like the industry has always been evolving. It's always going to, you know. It's like at one point Picasso woke up and was like, I think cubes. I think that's what's for us. You know, like it's never been like the panic around it. I just don't feel the panic around it.
I also don't feel the panic. And I think that people nowadays especially need to be educating themselves about the moves that the industry is making. And that the business side of our industry is doing, because there's tectonic shifts that are happening. And from my experience, you can either sink or you can slip through the crack. And I have always slipped through the cracks. In major crisis of our times, I think back to COVID, I think back to the SAG strikes. That's when I've booked all of my biggest roles. I've slipped through the cracks. I was prepared in COVID because I was training to do voice, and so it was an easy transition for me, and I supplemented my income by doing a lot of commercial work from my closet. I already had the gear, and I already had the experience, and was just sort of very malleable, not rigid in my thinking. I think we're at another one of these tectonic shifts where there's a lot of new technology coming in. There's a lot of new opportunity. And I hear people sort of putting down these new avenues. I mean, YouTube was one of those for a long time where people just sort of like dismissed YouTube, and now look at it. Like, you could be a very successful YouTuber.
Movie stars
social
are
media,
trying to be YouTubers,
the new conversation with verticals. I mean, SAG just acknowledged and is allowing SAG members to work on verticals. That's going to change the entire landscape of verticals and how we consume content. And for a long time, everyone was just like, verticals. But I mean, Quibi tried and they failed, but now there's this new iteration of the technology that Quibi was like promoting. They were just a little too early. So I think it's important for artists to keep up on the new technologies, keep up on the trades, understand the landscape, and map out a course for themselves that could allow them to slip through the cracks.
I think one, you are speaking wisdom, and two, I think you almost never hear a success story about anybody in our industry that's like, I was just like waiting for stuff to happen and then it did. Like there's a reason why that's not the narrative. And I think where actors can get caught up is they try to like micromanage where their careers can go. They're like, you say like, I want this, but not that way. As opposed to being like, what I hear when you're saying this, and I could be wrong, is I had a clear idea of the direction in which I was pointing my ship. And as the storms evolved, I was able to make adjustments and find and continue on the path of that because I knew essentially where I was going, which I think and you weren't just like hoping that the ship was going to be able to get there. You were like, I got to figure this ship out,
right?
Like, and how to do all of this stuff, like navigate the storm and being aware of and tracking it as it's coming in. I think that's so important. I think too many actors just like take acting classes, audition, and bartend. And it's like, if that was enough, I think there'd be a lot more successful actors.
I agree. It's not enough though.
Yes, I also agree. We are in agreement.
We are in agreement.
I'm sad, but we got to kind of bring this thing into land. I feel as though there's so much wisdom that is contained in you, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to get to chat with you finally.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm curious. I often end this podcast with the question: if you could go back in time and speak to like just starting out you, and give her one piece of advice, what would you say?
What I said to myself yesterday. You have everything you need already inside of you. Just have fun and just be you. Like, allow your uniqueness to be the thing that propels you forward. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to do anything that's not connected to who you are and your value system. Just be you, and someone's gonna see your light and give you an opportunity, and just be ready when they do. And I mean, I wish I had told myself that earlier. I did eventually learn that, and I am a lot happier in my career having learned that lesson.
Right.
So, yeah, just be you. You're already perfect.
That's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I think that if I had learned that lesson when I was like 18, 19, I probably would have dealt with a lot less internal conflict. That probably would have just expedited my path onto becoming the kind of person I wanted to become. Yeah.
Yeah, because no one's going to tell this story like you do. You might go into an audition room and see 4 people who look similar to you, but they all have their own unique perspectives and backgrounds. And what they bring is going to be uniquely special, and what you bring is going to be uniquely special. And it's just about whether or not it fits into the vision of the people who are creating it. But like, eventually something is going to stick for you, and it's going to be right for you when it does.
Yes. Yeah. And you're not going to have to like tie yourself up like a pretzel to try to fit something every day.
Exactly.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You.
This is great. I hope we get a chance to talk again.
Yeah.
This has been a real delight. I appreciate it. Cool. I think we got it, guys. Yeah. Woo! We did it. Cool. I think we got to get a couple little like... Okay, here we are at the end of the episode. Thank you so much if you're here at the end. You're one of the real ones. Friggin', how great is Sara? What an awesome conversation. I loved it. And this podcast lights me up every time I do it. It's the heckin' best. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you all. And like I said, if you're here, please like and subscribe. Rate 5 stars if you're on Spotify or Apple. Appreciate that so much. Subscribe wherever you are. Follow us on socials at the Nyback Act on Instagram and TikTok. And if you really want to support the podcast, you can do so over at our Patreon. If you're an actor and you want to hop over to our Patreon, subscriptions there get you access to all of my online acting courses, which teaches you everything you need to know to craft a bookable audition. Super, super valuable, as well as a bunch of other custom content. So it's a cool place. I'm working to fill it out even more. And I really appreciate everything that y'all have done for us so far in our podcast journey. It's pretty incredible. So the more you can share, the bigger the podcast gets. And we appreciate it. And I appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And, go be people.